Okay, so for this project, what we're going to need is you're going to need an old record. I got this at Goodwill for like $1. It's scratched up, so it won't play anymore. You're going to need something to set your record on top of so that when it gets soft and starts melting, it will form around this. And this is just so I don't have this sitting directly on the oven racks. You're going to need a candle. What I have here, I have a plain white unscented candle, and then I have got 4 black cherry scented votive candles. I'm going to melt all of that together. And I'm going to use this small glass pot because it's got this spout on it. So it makes for easy pouring. When it's all melted, I can just pour it directly into the mold. This is the one that I made last night. It is scented. It's like a lavender scent. You can't really tell. It was a white candle with like a purple coating on the outside. You can't really see the purple, but and it worked out really well. So I'm super excited. You are also going to need a hot glue gun. I have to find mine. I'm not 100% sure what I did with it after last night. So, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get your wax started melting. So I'll turn this on to about 6. And I have a popsicle stick here to help me start when it starts melting. And then you want to turn your oven on to... I turn it on to about 200. It doesn't have to be very high. I just have it set on bake. I let that warm up for just a few minutes. Doesn't have to go crazy. Got a sticker on the bottom of this. It's not gonna come off. Okay, so you take your record. And you want to place it on top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the center of this so that I know where to place the circle. I gotta find it right there. Okay, so we'll place that, we'll center that right there. And once the oven heats up a little bit, we will set this inside the oven for about 10 minutes. It doesn't take long at all for that to do what it needs to do. So we will get that in the oven. And then what you also need to do is you need to make sure you have your candle wick. Now mine fell off of the little metal piece that it's usually attached to. So I am currently hot gluing it back together, which seems to be working pretty well at the moment. So we'll get that connected. But I will also add a little bit more hot glue to it once I get it in the record. And I'll show you how I'll do that in just a moment. As you can, well, you probably can't see, but our wax is starting to melt. And I've got that whole white candle in here. And the black cherry candles. And they're all starting to melt together. Moving my pan around. So we'll let that get going. And I'll go ahead and throw this record in the oven. So you just take this whole thing. Make sure the record is centered on top of, mine's a mason jar, but whatever bowl or cup or whatever that you're using. And you just slide it, oops. Tripod's in my way. Hang on, gotta scooch it back. So So you just make sure you set it in the center. You don't want it touching the top of the oven because then it will burn. Mine's really close, but that'll just help it. You can't see where it's at. That'll just help it melt a little faster. So I will see you when that is done. Okay, so just took the record out of the oven, and this is not the actual shape that it came out of. It was more flared out like this. But what you can do is, because it will be hot, you can take a towel and place a towel over the top of it and just squeeze it down and manipulate it to whatever shape you want it to be until it's cool enough to touch with your hands. It doesn't take long. It cools down really fast. And you can just lift it right off. See, it's still a little warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set it in the freezer to kind of flash cool it, I guess. So I'll set this in the freezer. Will not take that very long. And now these, because they were not in there for very long and the temperature only got up to about 170, they're still warm, but I can touch them. You just have to be very careful. Okay, now with the wax, it is completely melted, as you can see. I ended up switching to a spoon because it worked better than a popsicle stick. It's completely melted. So when we get the record ready, we can just pour the wax right in and we'll be good to go. So we'll give that record just a few more minutes. Actually, it won't even take that long. Come back over here so you can see what I'm going to do. We will go ahead and turn this off and remove this from the heat. I'm just going to set it right here. Now what I will do as a precaution is set this down here. Okay, so the record should, yes, it is cool now. You cannot manipulate it as much as you could before. It's slightly frozen. Be careful, because once it hardens, it will break. You just have to be very careful with that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take this. It's a little washer, and my wick did fall out of the little metal piece. Here's the metal piece that the wick fell out of. I don't know if you can see that. We're just going to stick that inside the washer, and we're going to glue that to the bottom of this record. Right in the center. And we'll just flip that over and press that down. Kind of evens it out, levels it out. Until that dries. Won't take it very long. Okay. Now I'm going to put a small ring of glue around here so that this little metal piece will stick to the bottom of this. We don't want it coming out. Of course, it doesn't want to cooperate now that I'm telling you how it's working. We'll just hold that there for a second, let that dry. Now flip this over. Now it might stick to the pan, but that is okay. There we go. We got that in there. So then we're just going to place some hot glue directly in the center of the bottom. Now it's hard to see
because this one's actually pretty deep. And we're going to stick the wick right there in the center. Until that hardens. Now the wonderful thing about this hot glue is that I'm actually going to stick this in the freezer to help that harden faster. But the wonderful thing about this hot glue is when I pour the wax on it, it won't melt. Which you would think, being hot glue, that it would. But I didn't seem to have an issue at all with the one that I did last night. So we'll let that freeze for just a second here. And get my stuff a little cleaned up. Still got these crayons out because I'm going to use them for something else. Okay. That hot glue should be good to go. So we'll just, what we're going to do is we're going to hold this wick straight up here. Like so, right up in the middle. And we're going to take our wax and very slowly and carefully pour it into the record. There we go. And then I'm actually going to grab that wick here in a second. I'm going to wrap it around this marker here. Kind of lay this marker. Oh, it moved. That's okay. Kind of lay this marker right across the top here. No, stop. The wick did come off the bottom after I said it wouldn't. Okay, we're just gonna do that. And I'm gonna take this entire thing, this whole thing, stick it in the freezer. Okay, so now that I have that in the freezer, I'm gonna let that sit for about 20 minutes and then we can pull it out and look at it and see how it looks. It'll take it a couple hours. I'll probably let it harden completely overnight before I try to actually burn it. But yeah, as soon as I let it sit, I'll pull it out and we'll see what we have. Okay, so it's been a little longer than 20 minutes. It's been more like 2 hours. I got distracted, but that's okay. The more time in the freezer, the better. So this is our final result. Our lovely candle. And let me see if I can get a better light. So see, there you go. Candle. So yeah, there you go. Our record bowl candle. Super excited. I'm super happy with the way this turned out. I am so happy with the way this turned out. So if you guys try this, post your pictures in the comments below. And let me know how it turned out. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. I will be trying to find a bunch of other things that I could try that I cannot find on YouTube. Sorry, there was something, had something on my finger. So I'm going to be trying to find other things that people haven't done before and try them out. Let's see how they work. So yeah, if you end up doing this, let me know. Let me see your pictures. And I'll see you next time.